Good afternoon. At least here in Michigan it is afternoon. And today I want to talk to you about the power of seeing and validating. This happened to me this morning and I keep thinking about it all day long. Today's, as I said, day 68 of shelter in place, and there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in our world. And it can be quite overwhelming. And also we can start to compare, whose trouble is worse than someone else's. And it's very easy to validate things that are very blatantly awful, like the racist stuff that's going on right now. That is awful. But there's other things going on also. And if we have something going on in our life that needs attention, we can negate what's going on in our life because it's not bad enough. It's not bad enough. But that doesn't serve us, and we will never heal, and we will never overcome, and we will never do or become whatever it is that we need if we defer because we compare, and so we're not good enough or it's not important enough to deal with whatever it is that we have. And me coming to know this started 6 years ago when I wrote this book. And I wrote this quote that's been quoted all over the place, and it was a revelation to me when I wrote it, because I struggled for so long not dealing with something because I discounted it and I wouldn't see it as valid. I was making a big deal out of nothing, and they didn't mean it and stuff like that. And that quote it starts with, trauma is personal. And it goes on to say, it does not disappear if it is not validated. When it is ignored or invalidated, the silent screams continue, internally heard, only by the one held captive. When someone enters the pain and hears the screams, then healing can begin. And that's my quote from this book. And when I wrote that, it was a profound revelation to me. But when we get a revelation, sometimes it takes a while to seep in, sort of like you peel layers off of an onion. And I really realized that this morning when I was reading a post by another life coach, and she said something similar to what I say, and it just hit the nail on the head, and it just validated me all over again. Because one of my traumas in my complex PTSD traumas that I dealt with had to do with childhood emotional neglect and things that my parents didn't do and things that my parents did do that I discounted as not a big deal and I should just get over that. But I had the effects of that in my life for years, and it wasn't until I finally owned my truth and dealt with that I started to get healing. But I felt so guilty because my parents were good people. They did not hurt me on purpose. They were well-meaning parents who were just incompetent in some ways. And I just struggled to own that for the longest time. And that quote I read to you a minute ago, that was the beginning of having to deal with it. It doesn't disappear if I invalidate it. It's there. Trauma is trauma. And it doesn't go away if you won't call it trauma. It just goes underground and turns septic inside your life. And what I read this morning on this lady's Instagram, it was just so comforting to me. She said that it was when she finally gave herself permission to say, yes, this did in fact happen. Yes, my parents did in fact hurt me. And yes, I understand it was not intentional. But still, her childhood programming it impacted her state of mind and her behavior and her life experience. And I'm like, yes. Yes, and that's Lisa A. Romano, in case you want to know where I got that from her Instagram. It's not a direct quote, but that thing of yes. And in my book here, I put no malice does not equal no harm. And that's really hard to own because they didn't mean it. So that, no, the harm was there. And so we need to own that. So I want to encourage you to own your truth. If you have something in your life that you are not owning because they didn't mean it, please own that. You can only heal of it when you will own, yes, it did hurt. I don't care if they didn't mean to hurt you. They did hurt you. And it's not about them. It's not about blame. It's about you getting what you need for you to get healed. And it's taken me 6 years for this to get more and more and more in me. So it's a process. It won't be instant. But you can be healed of your childhood trauma if you will own your truth. And so that's why I want to come on here today and say to you, because I love you, that lady on the internet that comes on here every day, starting with the shelter in place day 1, today's day 68, as I said, Danielle Burnock at danielleburnock.com. Love yourself from survive to thrive. And my self part in that is an acronym, SELF. And the S stands for seeing. You have to see your trauma. You have to see what you're dealing with. You have to look at. You have to see it. You have to own it. And so I want to encourage you to do that because you matter. And so until tomorrow, I love you.